Good morning, everyone. How are ya? The sun is kind of starting to come out today, just a little bit, so keep your fingers crossed. But House Republicans have made significant progress on the one big beautiful bill. 9 out of 11 committees have passed their pieces, and the 2 remaining committees will be done quite soon. After our committee work, after that work is done, we will move on to the next step. But before we do, I think it's important that we not forget what is at stake for the American people if this bill doesn't pass, which I'm confident it will. And what's at stake? Think about it. What's at stake for Michiganders? They would see their taxes go up an average of $2,400. Mothers and fathers who need the child tax credit could potentially lose that. Mom and pop shops could close, and even family farms would be affected and no longer cease to exist. If we don't pass this bill, there will be real consequences, and real consequences for real people. We must pass this transformational piece of legislation, and failure is not an option. Additionally, this week, House Republicans are honoring police in National Police Week. We will vote on multiple measures that support our police and law enforcement officers. Those who bravely serve our communities in uniform deserve recognition, especially those who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. Now, I'm curious to watch the Democrats and see what they do this week. See if they will actually join us in honoring the men and women in blue. The jury's still out. I mean, just look at last week when House Republicans visited small business for Small Business Week. What did the Democrats do? The Democrats visited the MS-13 members. Will they visit criminals this week instead of police officers during National Police Week? The jury's still out, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Now, because Democrats have turned their backs on law enforcement over the past 4 years, let's not forget they were the party that wanted to defund the police. And they actually called for defunding the police. They advocated for a border crisis. They passed soft on crime legislation. They have put the lives of local law enforcement officers in danger. But I can assure you those days are over. With President Trump in the White House and Republicans in control of...
The Dems, man. It's really a shame just how far from grace they have fallen. The truth about the Dems is that they everything that's wrong with them they see as a winning opportunity. You know? Let's go and fight for rights for criminals, MS-13, just so we can get a political win and say that, you know, Trump, you know, they try to race cars so hard. So it's like, oh, no, Trump is fighting against the black and the brown, you know. I mean, ask yourself, if you vote Democrat, at the end of the day, if they succeed at locking up Trump because he fights against the black and the brown, what does that do for you, right? Nothing. Like, their policies do what for the communities? I mean, do what? They run their communities, and they're all ran to crap. I know, because I grew up in Louisiana and Baton Rouge, New Orleans. Mostly Democrat-ran cities, and crap. I come over here in Florida, Republican city. You only see no trash on the ground. You see your roads actually getting built and where the money's going. My child goes to a public school. She gets a little app. It lets me know if she has any homework. We could talk to the teacher on the app. I would need to send her to a Catholic school or private school back home for the same thing. And that's no joke. What Democrats have just fallen so low, you know? Everything that's wrong, and you know why they do it? Because they benefited from doing that, you know. And they make it as if they're working for these people, when in return these people are actually working for them. They're getting their votes, and they're not really doing nothing for them, but over there grandstanding. Because if you grandstand for a criminal, what do you really have to do? They're like, oh yeah, you had my back because you tweeted out some shit. You what they call it when you virtual signal. You virtual signal. You know, it's crazy. Real people, like, we rather the government do nothing. We can figure things out on our own. But if you're gonna mess with our lives, don't allow men to compete in my daughter's sports. Don't allow illegals over here competing with my wages, saying, oh, they're just picking cotton or picking candy, whatever the hell you claiming that the illegals are picking, and that American jobs that we won't take. But if they're here long enough, they'll be taking good American jobs, management job. Have you looked in the construction field lately, in the roofing field lately? They're in the best jobs, right? So let's not kid ourselves. It's just crazy, the hills that I don't know, the Democrats, if they're gonna get out their little ghetto ratchet ways, or they just gonna keep at it like this, because people with common sense will never vote for them again. And it's the reason why many blacks and the majority of Latino men didn't go for it, because they've been here, they pay their dues. They're not just gonna let the door open for all these illegals just because you want their vote. They find it disrespectful. So Democrats are out of touch, and it seems like the only thing that will put them in power, like with this whole tariff thing now, is getting better with China. They would need the Republicans to screw up, and they would be able to paint them as being so bad that they're better, right? The lesser of two evils. That's the only way they get elected again, I see. Because if you know anything about policy, they have no policy. They have an activist agenda. That's their policy. Talk about the people you hate, and then you'll get their vote. That's it.
Every way, and we're glad to show it. So thank you for your service. Thank you for your service, David, everybody who does that. My Capitol Police team, my security team, I spend more time with them than I spend with my family and friends and everybody, and they become like family to us, and they do a heroic job. So we're so grateful. Can't say it enough. They deserve our gratitude, and they deserve our respect, and I wish all of our House Democrats agreed with that. They show with their actions that they don't, and we got to talk about what happened in New Jersey. On Friday, as you all know, 3 Democrat members of Congress got into a physical altercation with our ICE agents. I mean, outside the Delaney Hall Detention Center in New Jersey. What a spectacle that was. What a horrible display for our children to see, right? Amid a long list of shameful and embarrassing episodes this year, that altercation, I think it takes the cake. I think it's a new low for congressional Democrats. Instead of condemning the action, of course, the Democrat leadership in the House sent out a statement of support. My friend Hakeem Jeffries said, quote, "We will never bend the knee." To bend the knee to what, Hakeem? To ICE? Come on. The reason the Democrats were even at the detention facility is equally concerning. The purpose was they were there demanding to shut down the detention facility. Now look, here's who's housed in the detention facility: violent gang members, rapists, and murderers. They want to shut it down. We already know the Democrats support open borders. They support MS-13 gang members. They go visit them in jail. They want to allow illegals to vote, so many of them. But this is a new low. Republicans want to detain and deport criminal illegal aliens. Democrats want to empty the jails. Could you have a stronger contrast than that right there? We don't need less detention beds and facilities. We need much more. And that behavior is just unacceptable. We're grateful to U.S. Attorney Alina Habba in New Jersey. She's opened an investigation into this matter, and that legal process will play out. We're having conversations. We had them this morning in the House Republican Conference meeting this morning about appropriate action that we need to take here to address that inappropriate behavior, the wildly inappropriate behavior. And we will do that. Let me just talk about reconciliation real quick. Look, this is the bill's coming together, as you've heard. The last 3 committees are reporting out today. Everybody in this room, I know, gets fixated on a few final details about all this, but I think it's important to just state one more time what we're achieving through reconciliation. This will be one of the most consequential pieces of legislation ever passed by the United States Congress. It is large, it is comprehensive, and it deals with reconciling the budget in a way that will be fiscally responsible. We're going to slash taxes, including on tips, overtime, Social Security for seniors and job creators, restore American energy dominance, as you've heard, secure our border, and deport illegal aliens. We're going to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse, return to peace through strength, and reduce spending all at the same time. And I put reconciliation on an aggressive timetable back in January. I said that we would try to do this as quickly as possible. We're still on target to hit that Memorial Day deadline, which people balked at when we first said it. The American people are counting on us to get this done and get it done quickly, and we are on target to.
All right, now this one's crazy. We just talked about how crazy the Democrats are. Now they're willing to break in where they're housing illegals to what? Bail them out? Like, if they were allowed to get in, what was going to be their next move? Oh, we just want to have a talk with them, bring some tea and cake to these murderers and these child molesters that ICE is housing. Like, what was your next move if you did get in? They had no next move. They wanted to be on camera, getting arrested, going through jail, because that $20, $200 ticket to jail and get out real quick, you know, their career and the money is worth a lot more. And at this point, when you're in a party that has no way to lead you, because to lead has to be something that people in general find good, that everybody could gravitate to. And there's no message that everybody can gravitate to with the Democrats, other than they're racist, and then they lie about the things they say about the Republicans. You know, the Republicans, they found waste in Social Security, and they were paying out people that was 200 years old. So the Republicans are like, no, well, you're gonna stop paying people who are 200 years old. That's fraud. You know what they said, the Democrats? Oh, they're cutting Social Security to certain people. Yeah, the people who don't exist. That's the kind of context they'll leave out. And a layman's person who's not hip to the games they play, they don't catch little things like that. I've been watching politics for over 20 years. I got into it when I was in my early 20s. Initially a Republican. Then I was like, told, oh, Republicans are bad too. Then I hopped on the Democrat train, and I recently got off the Democrat train about, I actually voted for Biden. I'm ashamed to say that, but it really opened my eyes, because the Democrats play a better game and a more deadly and more scarier game. And initially, you can't see it at all, especially if you're a Democrat. You can't see it at all, because all the news stations, the legacy stations, all with an N in it, NBC, CNN, NBC, MNBC, all the ones with an N in it, they all play the same game, so they all say the same thing. So I'm like, well, if they're all saying the same thing, then Fox News has to be lying, right? Because everybody in the news, they all wouldn't be just lying, saying the same thing. Well, come to find out, yes, they do. And you could, anytime they put out a new talking point, they have a new talking point every week. You notice one will say it, and then it'll get regurgitated throughout all those legacy medias. They all say it. The same talk. It's called talking points. They're like, hey, push this. This is what we need to feed. It's the same thing that you were told, that North Korea and China pushes propaganda news to the people, news that they want them to hear. It's the same thing. It's the same thing being pushed upon us on these certain news stations. You're not going to know that unless you're not so locked into what they're saying and believing what they're saying. Once you start questioning and start looking at other outlets, now you can get your news, like from me, on the grind with Political Decode. Hey, that's why you're here. I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I'm your host, Johnny Caruso. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel if this is your first time here, and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I drop more content like this. I'm out.